Hey everybody, this is Theokinawakid'S here, and today I'm gonna talk to you about more or less the new Animaniacs reboot, 2020. Um, I know I haven't been posting any new videos in a while, so I was kind of busy with school and you know Thanksgiving, and the whole Thanksgiving week has been kind of more or less like a whole thing that more or less I had to deal with. Have family over and all that. But here today, I'm going to talk about the new Animaniacs series on not Netflix, but Hulu. That more or less, it's, for lack of a better term, pretty good. I like the new redesigns. First off, I like the new redesigns. I love the fact that more or less this series has made reference to the fact that it's been gone for like 22 years, and the fact that Hollywood and just social media and the world has been enlarged, changed throughout the whole years that it's been gone. And I love the fact that they literally in the first episode sang a whole song and dance number to the whole idea of reboots, and how more or less like, yeah, how it was morally bankrupt, and the fact that like reboots is just another cheap cash grab to just give viewers. But hey, when we do it, it's awesome. Which is the underlying statement of that. Literally is like, yeah, but I mean, you gotta make cash somehow, and might as well make a reboot of your old favorites, right? So, with that being said, Wacko, Yakko, and Dot are more or less back. They're pretty much back in the studio lot. They're back in the water tower, and they're back causing a whole bunch of mayhem and madness throughout the whole Warner Bros. Studio. Well, the fictionalized one, anyways. And more or less, this season is kind of interesting because more or less, I keep saying that, is under new management, and also, uh, this season is more or less, again, this is the third time I said that, uh, has two segments, the Warner siblings and Peeking the Brain. And to those you're wondering, like, hey, where's Minerva Mink? Where's Slappy Squirrel? Where's the Goodfellas? And where's all the other characters in Animaniacs? Well, here's a little bit of a spoiler for you. I'm pretty sure everybody kind of already saw this coming, but like, well, everyone, I would say everyone, but it's the Animaniacs. You can never know really what they could come up with. So with this, I say the whole thing with the Animaniacs is that the whole idea of the other characters showing up is basically like, hey, they are still going to do them. It's just that in this episode, in episode 5, does everyone remember Chicken Boo? The one Animaniacs character that's basically over like a human-sized chicken that more or less dresses like people in order to more or less get in touch with society. That old sketch. Yeah, apparently, even by the show's own words, Chicken Boo was so hated as a character that more or less they specifically removed him from the reboot. Which the character Chicken Boo got so pissed off of that he literally hunted down and more or less implied to mount all the other characters in Animaniacs, save for the Warren siblings, during the time skip, so that he could be the only one left in the cast. And he was about to do the same with the Warner Brothers until the Warren siblings more or less figure out his identity, and more or less he's got exposed as Chicken Boo, and more or less all the other. Oh, don't worry. They're, all the other Animaniacs characters like Minerva Mink and Slappy Squirrel, they're not dead. They're more or less just mounted, which is so he did the so the Chicken Boo did that while they were still alive. Did they even try to kill them off? Anyways, they more or less form an angry mob and chase Chicken Boo out of the show, more or less. Also, there's Pinky and the Brain segments, which uh Chicken, I keep saying chicken. Pinky the Brain is actually still up with their antics and was taking the world, and they touch upon modern things like social media and phones and the rise of smartphones and all that stuff and other various things. Outside of that, um, there is a new character was introduced in one of the Pinky the Brain episodes, one of the early ones, where more or less, in order to run for presidency, apparently, the Brain more or less created his own perfect vice president in the form of Julia Rat, which more or less is gonna become their new Snowball. Like Snowball, if you remember him from the original show, is more or less like the Moriarty to like Brain Sherlock. He's basically the rival. So Julia, after more or less, having a bit of a meltdown, both figuratively and literally during their latest election scheme, goes haywire. No pun intended. She more or less faked she more or less faked her death, more or less, in order to actually appear in more episodes later down the line as the new villain of Pinky and the Brain, the new rival. So, also, by the end of the episode, literally, it's like, well, she's back being a normal mouse, even more so now. No, you're wrong, Brain. She survived. She's still intelligent, and she's just playing the long game, apparently. Which, depending on the viewership, might work out to her favor, but literally, what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to the actual viewership of the show, it all comes down to whether or not it gets a second season, because if it does get a second season, it will bring back all the old characters like Slappy Squirrel, Minerva Mink, Read There Around, The Goodfellas, all that stuff. So, with that being said, uh, I highly recommend this series to any classic Warner Bros. Fans and also Animaniacs fans. And hopefully, I hope that other Warner Bros. Spielberg productions like the new Tiny Toons cartoon and the new Freakazoid cartoon pretty much works out well as well. So, yeah, that's pretty much my whole thing on that. Is I love this show. I hope it gets a second season, and I hope that more or less this series gets greenlit for a new season right away, because this show is something that we desperately need in this year. Because oh boy, I just wish this show come out sooner in the year, because this show's been like this whole year's been kind of a shit show. So but yeah, this has been the Okinawa Kid, and that was my review of the Animaniacs 2020. And this is me signing out.